Welcome, Earthlings, non-Earthlings, ridiculous ones, and soon-to-be ridiculous ones. You are right on time for your ridiculous hour. Thank you for joining us. Now we start the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to your ridiculous hour. I am Joseph Zenner, your host. Very proud to be here. This is my teddy bear. His name is Ted. Very unique name. He's been with me for 40 years. You can see he's got a bit of road damage, but he doesn't care. He doesn't mind. So today, I am thrilled to have one of my buddies that I've been Facebook friends with for years and years, and he did a session on me years ago that shifted my reality and blew me away and had me believing things that were possible that I didn't believe were possible before. I'm not big. I'm a big skeptic. Most people that know me know that. I question everything, and he did a remote session on me that just had me vibrating with orgasmic, amazing, yummy, tingly energy. So I'm very thrilled to introduce my guest for today, Kasimir. Kurt, how are you, brother?
Hello, hello. Yeah, I'm good. I'm great, actually. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Loving the new haircut. For those of you that know Kasimir, he usually sports the much longer hair, but he is freshly shaven, as am I. How long? Let's see how long it was between us. Mine, I shaved like Monday. How long have you been shorter hair? A little bit longer.
I don't know. I don't really have a good recollection of time, but let's say maybe 1.5 weeks or 2 weeks.
Okay. We're pretty close to each other. And you said there was something to that, but you didn't expand on it. What is with people shaving their hair right now?
I don't know if it's actually really time for that subject right now.
Okay.
But we will go into this later. But I would just quickly say that it was very refreshing. And it was something that was coming back and back and back to me all the time. You know, how about this? How about that? And the actual experience was very beautiful and very energetical experience because I wasn't cutting it off all at once, you know. But more on that later. That was just a preview. I want to quickly tune into the audience and also to the group energy, maybe into some subgroups to see what we are going to talk about. I read on the page that it was about modesty, and I heard something that you're interested in talking about that. But let's just take them as awesome concepts to which we can jump if we really feel like maybe there's something much more fresh arising in the now of this beautiful conversation. I will take a minute or two if you don't mind to tune in quickly.
Sure, please do.
Okay, right now there are not so many people tuned in. I would say about 35, coming more and more.
Yeah.
Can you actually see somewhere how many people are tuned in? Just a question between us. Joseph?
What is that?
Can you actually see how many people are listening to us right now?
It never shows the accurate view because at the end of the show, when it becomes a YouTube video, it'll say what the numbers are, and it's always much higher than it ever showed during the show. So I don't know.
Okay, good.
It only says a few people are on, but in the end, when we end it, it always shows that there was way more people on than we thought. So it's hard to tell. Hang out. And most of the people watch the archives anyway.
Yeah, it's good. Well, okay, I will give a quick introduction to what I think or how it looks from this standpoint right now about our show. There's
the challenge, Kasimir, is to tune into the people that are going to watch the YouTube video later as well.
Well, this is something we could maybe take on later, but it would be good to do it from no time, because when you do those things from no time, the energy doesn't get lost. But this is not for the audience right now. It looks good. It's very beautiful. Nice energy. Nice group. Fresh, curious, and light. We will get deeper, of course, during these conversations. Just for your information, I did some energy connection between the group and tuned in and saw kind of like how many people are there, what kind of energies are tuning in, who is listening to us. And based on that energy, and that energy is, of course, always moving, the conversation, or let's say the road of our conversation, will take different paths and different subjects.
Yeah, we have a lot of non-earthlings that tune into the show as well.
Well,
non-humanoid, non-earthlings that are big fans.
it is
We're,
interesting.
we're real big in the Galactic Federation. On Earth, we're getting there. We'll get there in time. But in the Galactic Federation, this is the #1 show.
Interesting that you're saying that, because just before you were saying it verbally, that information got to me and I was laughing about it internally.
Yeah, I'm like 30% teasing when I say stuff like that. We have had people on the show that have tapped into the energy. They're like, wow, there's some beings from other areas listening in. I'm like, oh yeah, they love this show. Because I introduce the show and I say, welcome Earthlings, non-Earthlings. How many shows welcome non-Earthlings to their show? I'm calling them in. Like, hey, non-Earthlings, come on in, baby. You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's a good one, yeah. Well, I will, for sure, of course, keep you updated what kind of beings are tuning in, if it's relevant and important,
Oh,
sometimes you have also beings tuning in which are not so welcome, and then you make them tune out quite quickly. But for now, it's a very beautiful and protected energy. We have this protected space for the show, it looks like. Not only because this space I'm operating from is protected, but we have...
Michael's a big fan of the show, so he helps with the protection. He's kind of in charge of the protection sector, him and Mary Magdalene, so that helps.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that, yeah, in the show we have some beautiful protecting beings as well, so that's
big
good.
Boulders.
Okay, so basically, I'm not going to turn off the video as soon as I thought, or even not for now, because the energy is totally fine with it. Because Joseph and I, we had that conversation about video or no video, and the energy back then was like, turn off the video, start doing the beautiful energy work with the audience to really get energy moving. But for now, it's good. So we can just lightly talk about the hair, the energies, and some interesting stuff. Okay, let's jump into the hair topic if you want to.
Oh, okay.
So what brought you to cut your hair? What was the feeling? What was your motivation to cut your own hair?
I've been cleansing and stuff, and people say, oh, is that part of your cleanse? Like, I could say that, but the real answer is I live in Houston, Texas, and it's hot as balls out here, so it's just way easier to have no hair. It's way cooler. I like stepping out of the shower and not having to mess with my hair and such. Speaking of hair, I want to say hi to Baby Jay. He's the Jordan ran Local Live Houston for a while. He'll come back one day. He's the old co-host of the show and now my current roommate. You know Kasimir.
What's up, Kasimir?
How are you? We know each other, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I know y'all know each other.
Oh, much love to you.
Congratulations, you recently just became father again.
Yeah, we got another one, 1 month old and a 2-year-old. So we're just keeping the hair crazy and trying to live, you know?
He actually cut his hair too, Kasimir. If you notice, his hair used to be down to here as well.
Ah, okay.
Kasimir was about to tell us why people were cutting
down to my butt. My hair was down to my ass.
I didn't realize that.
For 6 years.
Yeah, well, long hair is also nice in a certain way. I also had it till the hips, but more on that later, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to really do with what you feel, you know? If that's your current haircut, perfect. If you really feel like cutting it, cut it. If you really feel like growing it, grow it, you know? It's different for everybody.
Yes, it is.
So
I wanted to meet my new daughter with less hair, and I wanted to meet my new daughter with less beard. So I cut beard and I cut hair, and I
your beard was out of control.
My beard was out of control. It gets out of control pretty quick because there's my bloodline somewhere.
So your turn, Kasimir. Why did you cut your hair?
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh. Well, first I want to say something about Jordan's choice of haircut. And it's good because, as you said, you wanted to welcome your son. Was it son?
Daughter.
Daughter.
Yeah, okay. Your daughter with a fresh hair, with a fresh energy. Basically with a fresh version of you. Because in the hair, actually, there's a lot of, I call it history book of a human being. And this goes into my experience where I experienced it. But basically by cutting off that much of your hair, you're much more fresher and energetic and your internal self, because imagine you're carrying the knowledge of the last year, 2 years, 3 years. And for most of us, especially in this transitioning time, it hasn't always been easy, you know, not especially for you in that case, but, you know, like, it is nice that you cut your hair. It's a nice fresh vibration. It makes stuff much easier for you. So that's basically the message from the universe for you, Jordan.
Well, now that you say that, it makes me wonder if I should cut the rest of it off, because the last few months have been pretty difficult too.
Well, it also is a way that people track what drugs you've done in your hair. So it's a good time. I didn't cut my hair for that because I'm done with the corporate world. But Yeah, I know a few different people that have cut their hair bald recently because of drug tests coming, and they're pulling hair now for drug tests. If you didn't know, Kasimir, I don't know if they do that in Germany, but they're doing it
They
here.
do it everywhere, and it's a weird subject. But let me tell you, if they want to trace something from you, they can do it through different many reasons. I believe even that there's some body scan that they can know. But let's say one of those things should be the least reason to cut your hair. And the very first one is your own well-being and your internal guidance, you know. And the answer for that one, Jordan, is if you want to, if you really feel it. But we will get into that later. You know, it's not like, okay, I heard something on the ridiculous hour and now I'm going to do it, you know.
I had to.
So yeah, it's Kasimir's fault.
Yeah, exactly. Blame it on me. It always works. No, just see. You know, if you really have that same inspiration to cut your hair, do it. If it comes from that space, it's amazing. And during the process, let's say you cut that much and there's still that much left and you start to have a bad feeling about it, maybe don't do it. You know, it's really like intuitive.
Yes.
But he always grows back, so you cannot get wrong, you know. This is what I always say. This is the nice thing. It just keeps growing and growing fast, you know.
Yes.
So you cannot lose it.
So what have you noticed having shorter hair in terms of your energetic connection, your chi flow? Like what has changed?
Oh my God. This is how I really cut my hair shorter, you know, because that was something, nice to see you both, by the way, which comes back. I always tell people your mind can also be your friend, especially when it's in recognizing pattern. Let's say somebody is maybe being controlled by a dark source or bad energy, you know, and their intuition is kind of like off north. Then their mind really becomes their friend and always give them that kind of like, hey, look, there's a pattern, there's something wrong, you know. But this is way too dark for now. Maybe later we could dip into that water. But and so basically there was always, if there's a recurring subject or a thought coming to you, always have a look at it. Is it a being? Is it actually your mind making a good point and you're just way too busy doing stuff with other energy? And that thought just kept repeating with the hair. And I was like, okay, why not? You know, I'm basically spending a lot of time kind of caring about my hair. And actually, to tie into the reasons you said why cutting off the hair, you know, the practical side is also one of the reasons why I did it. It's the smallest of them, but it is part of them. So we all collectively start having that thought, wait a second, it's hot, it's sweaty, I like to shower, you know? And actually, if you discover that your hair, you know, this ancient Indian saying, it has a function, it's part of the nervous system, true. It's very true at a certain level, but once you like ascend that level, you don't need the hair anymore. And that's really my beautiful experience. And I'm going to dig into that because there was this study with, I guess, native Indian trackers from the army, I don't know when. And they're having two groups, one with short hair and one with long hair. You know, everybody knows that study. And they were waking up when enemies coming, the long hair and the short hair, not. But this is because they were not ascending past that point where you don't need your hair anymore, you know? And
what's interesting about, you say not to cut you off, I did, but what's interesting about
to cut you off.
To cut you off, that's why I was growing my hair. One of my father told me that part of my bloodline is Native American, and I had read the study about the Native Americans losing their senses after their hair was cut short, and that they weren't able to connect as much, able to, you know, sense and see and feel the enemy coming, or even just the wind changing, and that was a huge thing for me. So I was like, I'm letting my hair grow out, and for a while I felt more connected. The longer my beard got, the more connected I felt. But then it was like,
that was a belief,
a cloud came over, and it was all cloudy. The longer it got, the cloudier I got. The longer it got, the less I could see and connect. And then I'm like, exactly what you're talking about the energetics of holding on to something from years past. One of my friends came and gifted us 2 years ago, said, hey, I know you're having trouble with money and stuff. I'm going to bring you some Thanksgiving, you know? Well, she brought us some food, and when she got there, she was like, you should cut your hair. Because I had been working on a shrimp boat. And she was like, what you're doing is you've been taking the lives of living creatures working on this shrimp boat. And what the Chinese do, or in her tradition, is they, every New Year, the men and some of the women even would cut their hair off because it would hold the energetics from the year before. And so she suggested to cut my hair because of it holding the energy of all, like what you just said, holding the memories, the patterns. I have to shower.
No, there's definitely some shrimp up in there.
Yeah. Now that's what's ever dying in the fridge downstairs. But yeah, it's interesting that you say that because it's like both spectrums I've experienced and am experiencing, and I feel like cutting shorter because of that, you know. And sorry.
So I have a question though, because we got to get to, you know, Kasimir's take on stuff. So Kasimir, can you tap into the energy of the dead shrimp in Jordan's hair and channel them and maybe give us the message?
That's not important for now. Actually, I want to answer Jordan a little bit. And maybe we can have a look into that black cloud, but for now it feels that it's not any more important. Yes, this looks interesting. You look a little bit like Patrick Baboumian, the strongest vegan man or in Germany. He kind of has those interesting hairstyles.
You look like you have from Hunger Games.
I wanted to give you a feedback on what you are feeling and saying about and sharing about your own experience. Basically, and this is like the universal feedback from the universe, it's like we all collectively connected and we all evolving and we all like energy moving all the time. So what worked yesterday or the last year or like 20 years ago is no longer necessarily the same. And this is exactly what you were saying. At the point in time you felt it was right to grow and it was of a certain service, and then you evolved past that point, you know, and you really had to see, evolve past that point. I want to go deeper into that thing later, yeah, because there's something I have to elaborate more on it. So this is already like a little reading right now, but just answering what you said.
Yes.
And
well,
what happened, you know, is that the density you had in your hair was just not worth the service you were getting from the length of it. So there was too much darkness, too much dampness, and that's why you had to cut it off. You haven't fully reached at the point where you don't need your hair anymore. But maybe even on that show, we can unlock that one for you. Let's see where it goes, how your energy moves and stuff. We are still warming up here, you know.
Just to be clear, that does mean that I'm more advanced than him, correct?
No. See, when she's talking, it's going to be pretty dry. And well, although it is having a great sense of humor and likes to joke around in certain situations, it's just like, no.
I try to not joke around. Like, we try to take life very seriously and be really good at adulting. Like, we
yes.
very mature adults.
No, but yeah, definitely. It's very good to laugh and things. But you know, when you start to do readings and stuff, if you make a joke in that reading, sometimes it kind of like discolors the whole thing and takes away the sharpness and the precision, because some is really valuable information. So don't worry if I switch between laughter and ridiculousness and humor to like, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I should ask you, Jordan, do we have any questions on that with the hair and the shrimps?
We have more and more people joining us. Quite a few are jumping on, but I don't know that they know there's a way to open up your group chat. Now, if you're on your phone, I don't know if that's possible, but you can open up, if you're on your computer, like to the right, or maybe to the left, you have to hit on the chat box, top left, it says chat, and then it'll open up a window to your right and you can ask questions there. So if anyone has questions, that's how you chat. I don't think it starts out open. You have to open it, and then you can ask a question there. So there's that. But I mean, I have some more. I mean, I know we're talking about hair and things like that. I've been cleansing a lot, and I feel like some really funky stuff was still in me to get rid of. And I've heard some theories about how, you know, basically on the planet, love is flushing to the surface, and anything in the way of love is going to come up for you to clear. And it's like, God, I've had so much just bullshit that I know I was not attracting or vibrating at a level to bring towards me, like just random drama coming at me. Jordan knows a bit of it. I don't need to get into it, but it's like, I don't feel that I did anything to attract that or to deserve that. But when I started hearing about like you know, as the love is returning to the planet, everything in opposition to that comes up. I guess that's what it is. But is that what you're feeling for the Earth right now?
I will answer your question later, and this kind of plays in a little bit to what you kind of like called like mandala experience on this planet. I don't like to call it by that way. I have my kind of like own way of own words for the same truth that we are experiencing. I'm supposed to focus on Jordan for now.
I focus on him most of the time, so
it's okay. It's going to be answered. Don't worry.
Let's focus on Jordan.
Joseph?
No, not like this.
I have not brushed my teeth today. That is correct, and it's new.
No, by the way, yeah. So Jordan, do you have any questions?
Clearly, when you cut your hair, speaking of back to hair, when you cut your hair, clearly you feel more relieved because of just the weight off of your shoulders, off your ears, and everything like that. Like he just asked, like the energetic differences that you noticed. Was it something that, like, how do I say it? From root to crown, did you have a more steady flow, do you feel, because of your release or because of the cutting of your hair? Now, like, I guess I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I'm having trouble. Like,
make it personal. Make it about yourself or make it about me. But try not to generalize because we are all individuals and at different current levels.
When I cut my hair, I literally felt like a brand new person. And while the lady was cutting my hair, I kept thinking to myself, this is the end of my 7-year cycle. This is at the
Vedic cycle.
In my Vedic, this was the end of my 7-year cycle, and I didn't even think about that. I'm like, oh crap, 2016 was my new beginning of my cycle, and thinking about cutting my hair, thinking about my daughter, the newborn, her name being Juniper. Joseph just showed me today that juniper berry oil, the juniper oil, is an oil that basically exposes the darkness. It's used to bring out the darkness, things that you haven't dealt with, things that occur during your sleep, during your dream world. Your dreams are talking to you constantly because they're more real than your reality.
Yeah, and another way you could say it connects the dream world to the real world, real being in quotes.
I want to jump in there. And it's important, and also feel free to kind of like jump into my kind of like train sometimes. It just makes it more dynamic because it's really important, because the more you're in the flow and the now, the less you have a memory, and the more you really have to say things in the moment. Instead of memorizing 20 sentences, you're much more energetically. By the way, I want to say hello to the audience, and I already started connecting them and doing a little bit energy work on the audience.
A lot more people are joining now.
Yeah, and it's good. In the beginning, it was a nervous energy, and now the audience is kind of settling in. Hello to the audience. Welcome. Nice to be here. And thank you. And what I'm saying for both of you, but much more for Joseph, what we call darkness and purging works at a certain energetical level where the law of attraction and other things are, but we are now collectively evolving past that, path towards create reality, even though it's almost like some cycle, like gravity exists, but it's not that strong as gravity in 3D. But it is a certain law, but we are supposed to evolve past that on many dimensions and on many different levels. And it is very important to know that many of those dark things are actually having their own consciousness, and it's not necessarily only caused by trauma. This third dimension is kind of a playing field where good and bad can manifest themselves. And by only saying, okay, this is only from my trauma, I only have that energy, by just not keeping the door open and the mind open, that actually we might have a demon or like a bad entity in us, which plays that, because those beings can be very tricky. This is a big part of my work recently, like dealing with people the spirits of them committed suicide in bathrooms, or even demons from the Second World War, and really dark stuff. So I want to put it out to the audience, not so much, but just for information for the audience. Jordan, also a little bit, be aware that there are many beings who give you thoughts and want to make you believe that's your thought or your emotion or the old trauma which you actually did heal, which you didn't heal, and then by believing it, you're feeding them with energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you are like here, let's say thoughts create reality. Collectively, we are supposed to evolve past that right now, that we kick all those beings out, and instead of being all love and letting the love dissolve, also really see, okay, in this case, we are all love and everything is love. True that, but this truth doesn't necessarily play in every dimension because we are third dimensional beings. But for example, we are sometimes in 7th, 8th, 13th dimension, 12th dimension, even while being physically connected here, depending on your gifts, depending on what you're doing. So it is really important to kind of like quiet yourself, see, and really be open to what actually happens, pretty or not, at that moment. And you'll see, if you really open yourself up to this, the progress you make, the shifts are so much faster. So because some stuff we just don't want to realize it, you know. And I've seen this in my work lately with people. I've seen shifts. It's incredible. Like in 1 or 2 workshops, you wouldn't be recognizing the person anymore, and they are so free and so relaxed, and everything kind of works. And it's also like evolving beyond this. I only think happy thoughts and I do my shadow work and everything starts to work. We are really powerful and we are creators, I agree. But let's focus on what is really going on, you know. So the darkness actually is much more smart and tricky and present than we think. If I would count the number of spirits,
Big time.
what?
I said it can prevail big time through, like what you say, demonic, you know, beings or entities. And like,
What do you mean?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what do you mean by that?
For instance, well, Joseph was there one of the times. At one of the
when we did an exorcism,
one of the locations of the radio station. It's like when I ran the radio, I had a lot of people come in to different types of shows. Joseph's show, there was 33 shows all at one time. That was the max amount of shows. You know, everything, every spectrum, rap, conscious living, healthiness, all that kind of hoo-ha. And I kept having people come. Oh, Jordan, you're supposed to do this with these entities. Oh, Jordan, these entities are calling you to do this and asking you to do this. Well, one of them was like, hey, this building's full of like 250 spirits plus that are trying to go home. And the transportation angel said, you're the guy. I'm like, well, tell me why. Why am I the guy? She's like, she connected to her angels or transportation angels. You're the guy because you're not afraid to work in both realms and all the realms. Like it doesn't, you know, no harm will come upon you in the physical. I'm sitting here thinking like bullshit because it might not be a physical harm. I know that physical harm can occur and can't occur. We had, in that facility, Joseph and all of us walked down to start announcing to the spirits, hey, I got to take you home, you know, take me to your leader. No, just kidding. But I got to take you home and
if you want to go, like it wasn't a kicking people out thing. It was more like, hey, if you guys have been looking for the light and wondering.
Okay, sometimes you got to kick them out. Sometimes you got to even destroy them.
Yeah, well, that's not what we were doing. I remember. We weren't we weren't saying or else. What
he wasn't a part of was the or else, because I did not want to bring anyone into the or else. What I brought them in for was to help hold space and energy, to ask and to announce, hey, I'm opening this door for y'all to go through, and I've got to be your curator, and I'm the one who y'all are communicating to pass through this door. And what Joseph and the other people there that day didn't know. By the way, when we announced that, remember, Joseph, like a chair flew across the floor in the room. No one touched the chair, but a chair just slides across the floor and the door closes behind us. And I'm like, see guys, they're in here. And at that time, that was a non-inhabited building. It was just an office building, but I lived there at night. And I could walk to the hallway and have my hair touched by 20 or 30 beings that were just like, hey, how are you? Like, going to the restroom today? What's up, Jordan? Like,
no, but it is like this. If you're opening up to those things and you're really seeing, they talk to you, they have their ego, they have their personality, it is a big thing. And by the way, I want to confirm, yes, you have that possibility, that kind of gift, if you want to, that you can actually hold space for beings. Many of us can, I should also say to the audience, but you specifically. So she wasn't completely off track there with saying, yes, you can. But
I think you become a Catholic priest
and I
and
did
do
it.
exorcisms.
And I just quickly want to jump from exorcism because it's not the right time for that frequency for our audience right now. I feel we can go back on this if it's really maturing, but just giving you the information, Jordan, yes. And we can quickly, if you guys want to jump back to the hair thing, because the relief you talked about, you know, and the 7-year cycle, I would say from the belief system, 7-year cycle, it's not really your thing anymore. You have kind of grown past that. And it's a beautiful thing because when I actually, or let's say that length of my hair got cut first, I was feeling that warm surge of energy, whoosh, entering my body. I was like, whoa, this is something. And then I was like, this is only that much. So why don't I cut them here? And then we were exercising and playing a little bit with cutting a little bit more in hairstyles, and it felt better every time a little bit more was cut, and then here, and then I went outside, you know, and kind of enjoyed. And then I didn't like that hair stuff around my neck. I was like, energy surge, warm, loving feeling, plus nice. And all the comfort stuff that came then, my mind was, and you don't need the shampoo, you don't need the time, you can actually spend much more time with people, you know, instead of just like spending 30 more minutes on your hair or whatever. So I was like, let's do it. And then it got shorter and shorter and shorter. So I guess all of us, we're kind of awakening to a certain degree where like, hey, this feels good, let's continue doing this, you know? Like the haircut, for example, maybe you will be kind of like touched by a feeling cut it shorter. And you can also scan your hair depending on where you are. And then you can know exactly in which part of your hair energetically, which kind of old pattern or old stuff or even beings are in the hair. It's crazy. But yeah, also to the audience, if you want to open up to spirits and stuff, it's a colorful world there. It's very populated. So
Yeah,
very colorful and popular.
I have a question on that, and I mean, you can tell me, we can cover this later. It's not about exorcism, but it's a distinction that I've wrestled with. You know, I tend to do a lot of personal ceremonies where I literally invite every being that can view through me or visit my body in, and then at the end I'll kick them all out. Like, I'm big on permissions. I understand permissions, and I'm one of those conduits. And so people will like pick that up on me, like, you know, intuitive channelers or whatever. They'll be like, wow, you got a lot of stuff going on, like you got a lot of visitors. I'm like, yes, but I don't allow them to participate in my decision making. I may allow, you know, viewing. I have like a viewing only, and we have like viewing times, you know, it's like visitor hours, you know, at the hospital. Like, but my question is not about that. My question is, I'm having more and more like spiritual teacher friends getting into this whole removing entities things, and oh, you have boogies or you have entities, and I don't know. It doesn't feel good to me. Like, it doesn't. I'm not saying they're wrong, but like an entity, I think the way they're using that word and the way they're defining it isn't really accurate. You know, these entities are thought forms, essentially, in my opinion. And if I have some entity inside of me, it's not from any source other than myself. Like, even if the thought form started outside of myself, if it enters me, then that means there's a purpose for it to be there. My soul wouldn't have let it in. You can say, well, yeah, but you become more susceptible when you do drugs or alcohol or all these things. I don't care. Like, that's all the path. And I don't believe that. I just don't like the term entity. I think that there's spirits that can enter you, but I don't think it's on accident from a soul perspective. What are your thoughts on that?
Ultimately, from theory, you're right. Question is, how much of that truth can you actually bring down in 3D and apply it? And that's where the isness and here and now comes really in. Because let's say if you cannot levitate yet or create out of thin air, There's a moment. You're going, Jordan. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta get
Say
to
hi to Jessica.
Peace, baby J.
So the question is, what works for you in this moment, you know, energetically? And it is, try to open you up a little bit for the information that comes in, Joseph. Energetically, there was already this protective shield building up. Like
I have it. That's the thing. Like people think like because I let all these other things in that I'm susceptible, but I have a huge force field. Like I've got Mary Magdalene and Archangel Michael keeping this like badass force field around me. So, and the fact that my belief, I strongly believe that no outside entity, unless with my soul's permission, can affect me. So that belief protects me, in my opinion, you know, because I truly believe belief trumps everything. It's kind of a Teal Swan belief, but I believe that, you know, so it's my truth. I don't know.
Okay, how should I put it? You are invited to make a leap of energy in terms of being able to apply your belief. Because what happens right now is that your mind has hijacked your belief, which is ultimately true, but which you're energetically not able to apply yet. That means the shield I was talking about came from your mind, even if it has maybe a little toe here and there in your energy. And the offer from basically the universe is to forget about that belief system and to tune in a little bit deeper and to see what really works for you in this moment, you know? Like, just be open and try to drop it for a moment and experience it. We'll kind of like do something if you want.
Sure, yeah, I'll take my defenses down for you, Kasimir. Just for you, buddy.
Thank you. By the way, you're protected if anything would like to. This is good. So let me see. Do you want to be able to apply much more of your own beliefs and after what you just said in this reality? Joseph.
You're asking me if I want to be able to apply more of my belief
Make
around this area or my beliefs in general?
About the energetical stuff we talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Yeah, always looking to apply more.
Yeah. You just start doing a little bit stuff right now. Try to just relax. Try to relax a little bit more and let go. Okay, I just energetically grounded you, which will increase the energy flow. And by your very own energy flow, all beliefs that you can actually not apply will be washed away. So you will really see in which instance this truth is applying and which that truth is applying from now on. And it's an ongoing process. So it's not like a now, you know, even though it can be a now sometimes. Very nice. Do you feel any changes in your energy body for now? Maybe even your physical body?
Yeah, I mean, just like last time you played around in my body, I feel tingling, I feel safety, I feel relaxation.
Focus on the relaxation aspect of it. It's very different to what I did last time. This is more the earth and the universe doing, you know, the grounding. Basically, I grounded you into the earth and into the heavens and let them do the rest, you know, it's just taking care of your own energy flow and the rest kind of comes naturally. And you will see all those things that you have picked up here and there, which might have been valuable at this and that time. It's not necessarily working for you in that moment anymore. But you realize those things. There's still this energy blockage a little bit. That's why you don't perceive also the 100% quality of the grounding. Because when I would have to give a feedback if you're feel it 100% or not, I would say almost none of it. If you feel something of it, it's 0.1% or something right now, because there's still this kind of stuckness we have to deal with a little bit energetically and physically on that level where I am working right now. Doesn't mean that in those other levels, but and don't worry if there's going to be some flushing up of emotions. I would also highly suggest to take some barefoot walks sometimes to the forest, like 30 minutes, 15 minutes for you maybe, if you don't have so much time, just to feel the ground, look around, and kind of like explore a forest would be something for you. For everybody else, I would give them their own energetical feedback on how to explore the forest. But for you, it seems to be you have the tendency to enjoy curiosity in the forest. See maybe if there's some herbs and some interesting looking plants around, And do that twice a week. It will really facilitate this process of your own energy flow. And if you feel drawn to a certain tree, just go to that tree, hang out on that tree, maybe a little bit in the proximity of the trunk, maybe with your back towards the trunk, and just relax and see if your body wants to do some movements, like own movements. It feels like a static movement, like if you have a muscle cramp or something, And this will basically assist you, just giving a little piece for your mind right now. From this, I create my own reality. And if I don't believe it, it doesn't work. It will take you into the more direct experience of everything, and really show you, is it fire that is burning my hand, or is it just a sensation of fire, in the moment? Or is it the spirit tapping on my shoulder, or is it really something else, And yeah, don't try to just, be in a good, positive state all the time. If you have that energy flowing, you can have sadness, you can have some anger surfacing, and you can really feel like all your old stuff is kind of like physically as emotionally is kind of like flushing up again. But this is a very good thing, because afterwards you'll feel much better. And after the next forest work, you'll have even more insight, even more energy flow, even more releases. This is just nature and walking barefoot, Sometimes you don't need much more. And just listening to your body and the tree energy fields, what they do with you. Do you have any questions about that?
Well, I guess, what do you think? So you think there's still a mind block that I have to receiving? I mean, I did what I could to allow the energy in. What is a good technique to like remove the blocks from receiving that energy?
No technique. This is actually, in this very moment, you have evolved past that, which your mind is still asking the question about. And that's the beauty of our work. Because your mind still thinks that you are 5 minutes or 8 minutes back in time, but you're actually energetically already completely somewhere else. And that's the beauty, because you have been opening up, and because your energy flow is taken care of right now in that moment. And this flow state will be your answer. This feeling state will be your answer, in the moment, very spontaneously. There's no technique to apply, and maybe your mind will hate it and will go a little bit crazy from time to time, and it will.
I need a protocol, bro. I need a protocol.
Not anymore. That's the invitation.
Just allow. I have to have steps.
I'm not going to give you any steps on this.
That is the way my mind works, but I'm letting that go. Like, I can receive without a how-to manual. But we've had quite a few new people join, Kasimir. I know some of the people that have been listening are feeling the energies flowing. Even though you were doing it with me, I can feel that there's some people feeling it. I could even tell Petra specifically is feeling it. That's my homegirl that I know is listening. I can just feel it. But can you do something for all of us? Like, to now that we have a lot more, there's people jumping on and jumping off, but can you, tune in and do something for the viewership here?
Yes, of course. I already have been doing a little bit here and there, but I haven't really started on the level I work with you right now. I was somehow supposed to start with you in this beautiful manner, so that they can listen in and open up to the concept and ideas. And it's really important that you kind of see and say, okay, I want to experience this new level of deep inner connectedness, called higher self, called like pure own source, pure source of the universe through your body, and really see for you and feel for yourself, this is for me, this is not. In a feeling way, no concept, no steps will kind of like do this quality of job, because it's really this point of evolvement from, my thoughts create reality, to whoosh, I'm really applying it and changing, and it is really guiding me, and it is amazing and beautiful. Okay, I will do something with the audience now. So for all of you in the audience who want to receive, please just open up to receiving. It looks like we will do a collective grounding. So just so you know what is going on right now. Still kind of scanning the audience. We will do it with the whole audience, or divide them into subgroups with different needs.
This will work even if they're watching YouTube later, right?
It's great. It's perfect. But I will not be talking right now for a minute or two. Okay. Try as a whole collective audience to relax right now in this very moment, just to let it happen. A little bit more. A few of you don't really let me go. Great. Okay. Now almost everybody is connected. And don't worry and don't wonder if you feel a pull from your body or tingling in your feet downwards into the earth. It's just because the earth is pulling right now the frequencies from you that are not wanted or needed. Okay, for this group, it might take 10 or 15 minutes till you start feeling that some energy is flowing back up from the earth. And when that happens, just let it be, relax, and let that energy from the earth basically fill your body. Very, very good. I can really feel the shift of the energy of the group. Everybody is more opening up, being more heart-centered, more emotional, more connected. It's very beautiful. There's some sadness arising in the group. It's beautiful. It's just flushing out of your body, leaving more space for love and joy. You don't even want to give it a label anymore. Just feel what you feel and allow it and be. There's no bad or good in it. It's just beautiful. Don't try to rationalize it. In the audience right now, I'm feeling that although they opened up, or you guys opened up, now you're trying to understand it and put it in a good or bad category and to make a 1, 2, 3 step. Just audience, please, just go back to where you were 3 seconds ago and just feel that feeling and that energy getting pulled down. For some already, it's coming back up in their bodies. Yeah, very beautiful. Keep doing that. And if you have some more questions or you want to do some of that work later, you can either also join me on my workshops or book a session with me. But I guess the work we do in that session, the way how I feel to already be a big, big, beautiful transformation. And once you felt it and experienced it, for some of you, you can really start doing it on your own right away. And if you want some assistance from my side, just contact me about that. It usually doesn't take much time. 1 or 2 times on a workshop or just a little session. You're good to go on your own. Try to be more in the feeling again. Audience, please. Okay. I feel like your minds are getting very strong. Now, just a brief information for you, for the audience. Your minds are fighting back right now with tensing up the mind muscle against all that energy coming in. Just be aware that it is a beautiful time where your heart is taking over your body, and the true brain of your heart is slowly taking over your brain, which is the most beautiful brain or the most beautiful thing that can happen to you. But there might be some little like cramp here and there. I call it the brain cramp. So that's all right. Okay, and you can also type and ask us questions, but
Yeah.
it will be in the flow.
Yeah, we have a lot of new people. Top left, I believe it's top left for the viewers too. You can click on chat, and then it'll open up a chat box on the right. I know we've got a lot of new people. We announced that earlier. Kasimir, can you put your hand about an inch from your microphone like this? Closer to the microphone?
Yeah, like this. Why?
Where there's some background noise, and I know your mic is really sensitive, and it seemed like when you were moving your hands, the audio was going.
Wait a second. The fan for my laptop is on. You know. If I
I
put
don't know. It seemed like it was coordinated with your hand moving towards the mic, like the energy was messing with the mic. But
can you hear me better now?
There was just a minor background thing. I was just curious.
Is it bad or is it okay?
If the mic was picking up on your chi or something.
Well, my computer or maybe the movement. This is the thing with the energy work I'm doing. The sound in this moment is maybe going to be secondary because the main emphasis is on the well-being of the people and the energy work, you know. So yeah, I'm in that moment completely almost in a trance state, not aware of those things because the main emphasis of my energy focus is going to do the good energy work with the people. So just, you know, just for the information. Okay, great. So wow, all the energy kicks in.
So what do you feel? What did you pick up from the audience when you tapped in like that? Where are they at? What's going on?
Well, I don't want to spoil the surprise.
Oh, we have a surprise coming.
Big surprise. The stuff we do here is very transformative. And like I said, the work basically we do, and also some people come a few times to my workshop. Some of them are also really being asked forward to do the work themselves then quite quickly. It's very deep transformational work. So it's not much talking, much process, steps, whatever. It's reconnection and showing by the feeling and guiding the people by their own feeling to that reconnection so that they have basically their own steering wheel in their own hands and they really know, okay, that way. Like their own GPS and kind of like driving lessons, if you want, so, or remembering of their own. So that's what's happening energetically right now. There's this kind of like sense of fear by listening to what I just explained in the audience arising right now a little bit. This little uncertainty, it's none of that. Your heart is only in your highest good and in the highest good of everybody else. So don't be afraid, don't be worried about it. Is the best thing that can happen to you, literally. And some of them are asking themselves, but what if I didn't ask for some great transformation? I wasn't warned. This is literally the thoughts that I was getting right now for some of them. Like, shoot, if I just wanted to be like rich and not a nice guy or something, you know, because some characters are quite interesting in that audience right now. Well, let's say too bad for you. No, it's, you know, it's still the ridiculous hour and there's still free will in this universe, but ultimately your soul has the last word and your heart. So don't worry about this. You know, if your soul purpose was really to be a tough guy and get people a tough time, most likely this wouldn't change so much through the work. You would just get this kind of like chance to know, maybe that wasn't my soul purpose, or maybe there's something much beautiful, more beautiful than, for example, the dream mansion and the sports car after this harsh course of studies in which I'm right now, or this plan. I feel some of you in the audience about plans and goals and achievements, and maybe this also comes from, if I don't reach that goal now due to this change from that radio interview, well, it would be maybe one of the most beautiful things that can happen to you, because you will see that what comes out of it, and maybe you reach your goals even better. Who knows? That's up to your soul. You know, that's the beauty of that work is that I'm not doing it. It happens through me. And I simply have the ability to tune into your energy fields and your bodies and see really what your soul wants and just kind of align it, kind of waking it up with Mother Earth and the sky energy and the energy of the universe, of your own pure source from your soul. So basically your soul steps in and gets everything out of the way, which is not really needed, or just Mother Earth energy. For the group right now, it's much more Mother Earth energy. For example, with Joseph, I did ground him into the skies and into the earth, but the audience, I was supposed to only ground the audience in the earth. So it's really different for each individual, for each group, because individuals or groups tend to have different needs, you know, because much. But I can say something about the audience, but it's not really needed.
Okay.
It's just, there's one thing I can say, it's the beauty that this new energy flow will unlock a new level of sensing and feeling, which will unlock a new life, a beautiful life. There might be some surfacing of emotions. Some people call it a detox, some people just call it like purging. Know that it is a beautiful thing. Right. So,
So I have a question. Are you ready for a question, or are you finished with that segment?
I am finished with that energy session for now. It looks like it's doing a beautiful job. The
Yeah,
audience,
it's not gonna stop. You know, the energy will keep flowing. So if you're in the energy and you don't want that to stop, don't worry. It ain't going anywhere.
I will tell you, this is the thing, like you really feel those things, see? Even for you, just as a little reminder, it might be during our conversation that I will be like, wait a second, I have to do something, you know? It is really like, let's say you feel water dripping on your skin. It's that strong, that intense in a very beautiful way, you know? And you really feel when it stops dropping. So it's not like this is the concept and this is always how it is. This doesn't work anymore at that level of advancement. Like we are all flowing. It's almost like you flow, I flow, everything flows and everything is always new, you know? So there's almost like there are no constants, no rules, no, you know. Anyways.
Nice. Awesome. So what I wanted to talk about is, you know, for those that, I know there's a lot of people jumping on and off, but we talked earlier about entities, and attachments is another word they like to use here in the States.
Could you say something to the audience? Because I felt what I just raised some questions in the audience. I feel, guys, by the way, it's all based on collective frequencies, so don't worry, I got that covered. You're perfectly fine in that thing, and you don't need to understand it. It is a feeling that will tell you the questions you're asking right now. So, because the question which was collectively asked in the audience was, but if everything flows, how can I control, how can I know what is good and what is not good, you know? It is literally, you will be guided, you will feel it. And don't worry, there's still a big part of your life where you can control and you can choose, you know? But you will, of course, get the memo, this is the best feeling, this is the best choice, do whatever you want to do, you know? So most likely you always choose the best choice that feels the best to you, but it's going to be very obvious. It's not going to be a little subtle thing, you know, which you have to really meditate to get to. Of course, it is good to have a regular practice of barefoot walking for a few minutes a day, but I don't want to touch on that so much because I already feel some resistance coming up from the audience towards that subject. Okay, Joseph, yes, please.
Okay, well, so do you want me to not finish my question? Is that what you're saying?
No, please, finish your question.
Okay. So forget about entities and attachments. I think those are bad, like not correct words in terms of what's going on, because I don't believe that anything can attach to us without our soul's permission. And people usually use that term. They're saying like, oh, it's an attachment. They call it a boogie. You got a boogie you need to get rid of and all that. So forget about that. Access consciousness teaches that 98% of our thoughts are not ours. I don't know how accurate that is, but what I wanted you to address is we have all these thoughts in our minds a lot. You know, obviously a lot of times people will have thoughts that are really not nice or mean, and they didn't come, like I didn't construct the thought. Like I'll think of something mean that when I see someone like, oh, they're really ugly or something like that. And I know it's not from me because I don't really care what, like I'm not that big on beauty, and like I think every human is beautiful. Like it didn't come from me, but the thought, you know, snapped into my head, and I have to like say, whoa, thank you for sharing, but that wasn't me. How do you determine what's you and what's not? I mean, as the veil's coming off, we're getting more and more telepathic. That means, but I think it's dangerous to a certain degree to be telepathic and not understand what's me and what's not. You know, what other signals are coming in that are not me.
That's the way, and that's the key of our work, what we are doing on the show right now, and what I'm doing on my workshops and in my session, is basically connecting you to the degree where you have enough strength and clarity to really know those things, and also to be protected in the moment where you don't have the time to have that clarity. And because while you were talking, I was getting so much information and to share with the audience and also with you.
That happens every time I talk. People get so much information. That's just because of my wisdom.
But this is not necessarily about you, or this is just, yeah, I know. But this is the part where we have to be more precise. And in the beginning, it was about the subconscious, what you were talking about. And please forget all teachings and everything, all you have read, because this level we are touching in this interview is beyond that, and you are all beyond that energy right now as we talk. So you really made a big shift. And hopefully this is also going to continue much, much stronger for you as you practice by your own free will. It will unfold and get much stronger. The thing is, part of it is the subconscious mind, the programming. Yeah. Okay. Is everything all right, Jordan?
Yeah. And Jordan wasn't sure if we were meditating or something. He's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Got multiple guests. Hey, Briar.
What's going on there?
Oh, just have a few guests to the show. This is Briar.
Mm-hmm.
He's an angel. Here's another little angel. Baby,
much more quiet energy. Juniper. What's going on with Briar?
What's going on with her?
You want to talk to Kasimir?
A lot. Lots going on with her.
Just asking Jordan.
This is our friend Kasimir.
Hello.
Oh, let me let the crowd see Briar. Who's that? Me? No, that's not me. That's you.
Say hi, Briar.
Hi.
Hi, Briar.
So apparently we need a little bit of angel energy to come into the show here.
I would like to continue with what we have started, now that we are all a little bit more familiar with each other, because I felt that unresty energy coming into the room. And I was seeing there was from Briar not knowing what is going on, what we are doing, energetically, she knows what's going on, so we are good to go again. It's really beautiful when everybody is on a nice kind of peasy, beautiful, open way for the work we do. So I was saying part comes from the subconscious, and part is their energy, and part is really beings in the room wanting to mess with your thoughts, with their thoughts, or even entities attached to them, or even demons and beings being in their bodies. And it is really important to really neither be, yes, they exist and we have to take care of them, or no, it's just my thoughts and this is the ultimate truth. To really be open and see. Often when I do energy work on people, sometimes it takes 10, 15, 20 minutes to see what is really there. Is it really a thought pattern? Or is it maybe a being which is a trickster in disguising itself? How many layers are there? Or was it something completely else afterwards? So as we do the energy session, and as we talk, and as we continue with the work, we start to see what it was finally. And sometimes it's even that things seem to be a certain way, but then those impressions have been given to you to show you a deeper truth of that person. It is really a dynamic, beautiful unfolding, This is why I say seeing energy is one thing, but feeling energy and really having the patience and the now and the openness to really see what it is about is the ideal way, if you want to say, the ultimate way, because you're not stepping in the way of what really is, because at one point we project and we create our own reality, but on another level, it's really beneficial to go deeper and higher dimension and to really see what's going on in that dimension. Okay, but what is in this dimension? How all those dimensions in that moment connected? And it sounds complicated, but it is really easy when you evolve, which we are doing right now, on a point where you don't need to understand all of what you are doing because you're feeling it, So, and this is the same with the audience. Like, how do you help somebody who is opening up with all the shifts and see those things? One of the other messages was, it is not important to always know and understand everything, And that's totally fine, as long as you're protected by your own energy flow and your own alignment. You also don't always need to feel good or low 100% all of the time, because some purging might occur here and there, which gives you greater flow of energy, So it is really, for example, you're in your job and you're busy. Don't worry if you're not all the time aware, but the key is awareness. your own awareness to really see and feel those things, you know. But for example, let's take me as an example. Sometimes, even though this room or my home is a protected area, there are so many spirits coming and visiting, especially when I post in groups or I have online events. And sometimes I'm just like, I don't care about all of this. I also sometimes really like to enjoy 3D life and do 3D things. And if it's important, the message returns, you know. And if you really have a strong energy flow, it's not going to be anything, you know, like bad. And especially if you have a protected area and if you're really grounded into your soul and your soul kind of takes care of you, you know, then you're protected. And it's very rare that spiritual things throw around physical objects. It's almost never happened, you know. Personally, I have seen slight movement of little things, but never big bad things. So, you know, this is a good indicator to how protected you are, you know. And please, if any of you experiences some really bad and dark stuff, contact me. I was called to deal with a lot of that stuff here in Germany. That's why I'm still here. That's why I'm still doing the work. Let it be from any kind of war and pastoring, basically cleansing homes energetically. If you have a piece or room where you don't feel comfortable, just don't sleep quiet at night. I do those things remotely or in person, but just as little information. But I would say how to teach that to somebody else is just by being with them in the room and seeing how they feel and really say, there's your interface, there you go, if you want to put it in a technological term, you know. So forget everything you know and you think and stuff and just experience in the now for yourself. And this is a different now than the now we are only love, you know? This feeling which is almost numbing you physically out, that you don't feel anything else but love, which is a beautiful state of being, that this is past it. It's kind of like higher because it acknowledges many more dimensions at the same moment.
Got it. So I think for me, it's an interesting distinction to get like, oh, there's some being or there's some spirit speaking to me that I can hear in my mind, or the thoughts or maybe even feelings that they're giving to me. And it's kind of an easy way out to say, oh, that's some other being and it doesn't belong there. And I need to go to, you know, a spiritual healer to get rid of this attachment. But I think it's a healthier thing for me, and not for everyone, for me, because sometimes that works for other people to go get their attachments removed or whatever. For me, it's like to remember that all these things, all these beings, all these spirits are all part of the oneness. They're all part of Creator, God. Like, so if it's inside of me and I'm hearing it, then there's a purpose there. Like, I don't believe in mistakes or accidents in terms of soul missions, soul paths. You know, like, I don't think, like, I love to say, you can trick a human, you can't trick a soul. Like, these souls are not accidentally letting these things in. There's a purpose. And a lot of times it's a purpose that smacks you across the face. But for me personally, when I did get to a point where I felt like I was having too many spirits talk to me and too many things going on in my head, I literally had a little personal ceremony. I kicked them all out, and I put Mary Magdalene in charge of my guides, and I said, if you want to guide me as a different dimensional being or whatever, you got to go through Mary Magdalene. And since then, my life seems to be more balanced. I'm not as scattered. I'm a lot more grounded, and I just feel safer with Mary Magdalene in charge of who gets to guide me. And then, you know, Archangel Michael and her in charge of my safety and protection. So I don't feel vulnerable, and I think because I don't feel vulnerable, I don't get attacked. You know,
let me tell you,
the vibration that lends to.
The Archangel Michael is not protecting you so much because you don't need it, thanks to Mary Magdalene. I was just chatting with her. She is a very beautiful energy, and it's a very good thing to have her in that position for you, you know. So that's a beautiful thing, true confirmation of what you are saying. But you were asked also by her to evolve past that, but not by her. She welcomes that idea, which I'm sharing with you, you know, because instead of kicking those beings out, you can just wake up your soul, you know. And this is the thing when you are saying that ultimately it is the soul. We already touched on that before, you know. So you are invited to sink deeper into your soul and see how much of that you can actually apply. Because one thing is to know those things, and the next thing is to really be able to put it into practice in the here and now, you know. This is the next thing, because it really goes that far that we can create from thin air. But the question is, do we really want to create from thin air? And I know for me personally, I've been humbled by that feeling I had when I was going there energetically, and I didn't want it to happen, because simply I enjoy the illusion of progress, spiritual progress and physical progress here on this dimension so much that I don't want to steal that experience from myself, you know, because identity and evolution is kind of a beautiful illusion. Because this other information I was getting, when you say, yes, it is ultimately in the highest good of my soul and we are all one, definitely, but here as we are physically incarnated, oneness, the whole universe exists because we want to experience other than oneness. Yeah. And so this path, which you kind of were touching on a little bit, brings you more into this perma-bliss, enlightened energy, which is not actually that what most of us are looking for, you know. So that was the information basically, and the invitation to your soul and you to unite more with your soul and even work without Mary Magdalene. You know, it is a beautiful thing, and see, you didn't even need Archangel Michael to protect you, because she already did all the job. You know, of course.
My backup. He's my backup. Like if I, like I said, I do personal ceremonies sometimes where I invite like all beings that have interest in viewing through me to come in, and I don't make a distinction like all beings. Like I'm into oneness. So like if you have the ability to come view, you're welcome to come view for a bit. And I'm like, Michael, I'm gonna need your back for a second. Like I'm gonna let all these dudes in. And it's wild. Like I'm not a big feeler in general. I'm more of a thinker. I think you know that about already. Most of my friends do as well. But what's that?
What you were and what you are now becoming and being now.
True.
You're switching a little bit back and through. Since you were talking, you were switching a little bit out of it, but you're much more in the feeling space than before. And this is what we are working on right now. And it's not like a technique or step thing, it's just happening for you guys, like the whole audience and even you. It is really, you know, forget the past. I know the mind is like a pattern and like a machine, and it's going to tell you, look, Joseph, you're like this. And the interesting thing is maybe tomorrow, after tomorrow, you're going to make different food choices. And you're going to be like, oh my God, wow, I really thought. And you will catch your mind, and by still being in the pattern, but you energetically already have evolved. And that's the beautiful thing when you see really how it shifts and how it changes. So again, that invitation, that chi activation, basically, which happens a lot at workshops and stuff I do, or which was slightly given to you, you know, by your own recipe of going to the forest barefoot and seeing and feeling those trees, the movements I talked about, that's your spirit interface. And from that one, the spirits could move your body if you want to work with spirit. It is sometimes beautiful, but you don't need none of that. If you want to, you can purely let your soul and the chi, the energy of the plants and the planet, just guide you, you know. It depends on which dimension you want to see it. Mother Earth is also a spirit. The universe is a spirit. Everything, or almost everything, has a spirit, if not the energy pattern, you know. But this is getting really complex on what I'm touching, but it is important because in the past you were this and this, but actually you're no longer this and this, because you're blossoming, you're evolving, you know, right now in this very moment. And right now as we're talking, there are many control sources wanting to come in actually right now, because they're like, hey, the door is open, those guys are opening up, but actually they are not able to enter because we are protected, and because our own energy flow for the audience much more than for you and me right now. Because for you it seems like, because you have been doing this a while and you think maybe about not working with Mary Magdalene, they're already waiting. They're like, Joseph is going to be free. This is the kind of feeling I'm getting right now.
The gatekeeper is going away. We'll be able to sneak into his mind again.
Yeah, this is really, so if it's like this, keep in mind that you can always ask her and knock on her door. It's a very beautiful spirit, and it's really doing the job for you. So it's always a good concept, Mary Magdalene and Archangel Michael.
And just being honest with the audience here, just being completely authentic, I'm not even sure if I believe my own bullshit about Mary Magdalene being the protector of me and in charge of my guides. However, I believe that my strong belief that that is what's going on, like even though I call BS a little bit and skepticism on my own technique that I've created to put Mary Magdalene in charge, I still strongly believe that that is true, that she's in charge. So that belief that I cannot be entered by other beings that don't have her permission, I think to some large degree keeps me safe. Go ahead, guys.
Actually, the exactly opposite. It is,
Well,
she's
I circled the wagons there. How can it be opposite? I was a politician. I went both ways.
yeah, but you know, she's actually keeping you safe, and you believe is not as strong as her energy. This is where I'm saying how much can you actually apply, you know, of that truth.
I could get that, but I would have to still, if I didn't believe that her energy would work in this way, then it wouldn't work as strong, or it wouldn't work at all. Like if I was completely skeptical, I don't know that her energetic protection would be as strong. Does that make sense to you?
It all depends on which level you are, and for you specifically, it will still work and still protect you and quote unquote save your ass in a big and bad situation. Energetic. 1 second. And so see, this is the delicate thing about saying truths about belief and mind creates reality and how strong those beings are. And so you really have to be specific and unique for each situation if it's different, although there are sometimes some commonalities which change and some don't change. And well, this is the invitation and the whole subject. This conversation between you and me looks like for now is going to be about the really going deeper and acknowledging that own power. And really seeing that, yes, you can go there where you believe really does change things, and it's going to go very deep. But the question is, how deep do you want that belief to go? Because it's the beautiful experience we're experiencing, also being in physical, you know. So at one level of evolution, you really have to make the choice. Do you really be that aware and that awake that I can really trump physical reality with my beliefs or not? And that's a very powerful choice, which you have to do from your own soul. And as I told you, for me personally, I'm not yet willing to make that choice. Because trumping reality with your belief and your energy has many levels, and we all create and all we do it every day by manifesting and creating. But I'm not talking about those levels. I'm talking about the levels, levitation, creating out of thin air, etc. You know, the really deep, deep levels. And I would say, see for yourself what makes you happy and what really works for you on that deep level, you know, because it's much. And your head goes right now, what kind of like spiritual like bullshit is that, you know, like, oh my God. But this is okay, you know, your mind, let your mind be. It's all right. Your mind has its function, its place. It can be your worst enemy in some situations where you really have to kick it out and really kind of like destroy it in the moment to really experience isness. And this ultimately will be done by your heart's energy. And this is the moment where you literally have like Jesus powers or prophetic powers, basically true soul abilities incarnated into this dimension. Question is, do we really want to make the choice? I highly doubt so for now. There are many possible futures for this planet, mainly 3, but I don't want to touch on that right now. So yeah, there you go. You see, like, for example, ayahuasca or other things, they completely like knock out your brain so that you can really experience the broader reality of what is, you know. But this is also the part where your brain gets knocked out when you don't have a good protected space or a good shaman who really is open to everything. A not so cool entity takes a ride on your body because your brain is knocked out and shows you all kinds of illusions and all kinds of things, you know. So that's the tricky part.
But let me ask a direct question there. So when that happens, let's say that happens and a not so great energy takes control, shows you some stuff, gives you some illusion, is your soul in on it or not? Like, does the soul approve or it wouldn't happen? And did the soul choose it or it wouldn't happen? You know what I mean? Like,
so big, so powerful. The soul of an individual is so big, so powerful that it doesn't really care about those little things which happen in one lifetime of it. That's the point about the soul, you know. Let's say you're
not damaging to the soul, or the soul would stop it though, correct? I mean, I see what you're saying. Like, to the bigger picture, it could be insignificant. It's like, oh, look at our little human wants to play around with some entities. God bless, you know, like, isn't that cute? You know, kind of from a soul perspective, like, oh, my little human wants to play with entities. Well, go ahead, little human. But like, if it was really gonna hurt us, would our soul allow it?
Some, yeah, sometimes, yeah, because we are in polarity, and some really go down the road of darkness and really almost destroy their soul by doing really, really stupid stuff. And it's okay, because ultimately we are really one, so they can strip all the different levels of all the different dimensions, all the different planets, you know. So some souls choose to become evil and really destroy themselves, and some
But
souls...
isn't that also a soul path? I mean, isn't that just another version of a soul lesson? You know, like I like to say, we live on a planet with 8 billion crazy ass souls learning crazy ass lessons on this crazy ass planet. Like and then they all fit together like a puzzle. Like, I'm trying to learn about this and you're trying to learn about that. So we come together in a relationship. We don't learn the same thing. You learn this aspect, I learn this aspect from our relationship together. And it's always a win-win, soul-wise. Human-wise, we may fucking hate each other. We may, you know, be total button pushers for each other. But soul-wise, we're like high-fiving.
It's mixed territory. If you especially acknowledge the broader picture, this Earth is a gray area where everything goes. So there are really sometimes some pure evil things which really have to, you know, and even on soul level, which completely destroyed their souls and are no longer actually, they merged in with other beings and doing some great damage. And there are some of us who really don't belong to this plane and belong to other planes. And they're really here to kind of like clean up the place a little bit. If you want to really free people from their demons, which get them into addictions and really dark stuff. And even if the soul doesn't care so much, because the soul is so infinitely powerful, you know, and it's really hard to destroy a soul in a life if you want to, right? Or over a couple of few lifetimes, we all kind of come from different places. Even if ultimately we are one, there are so many worlds and so many creations between those two levels. And I feel some heart pain from the audience about that one. It is not that we call, and now I'm talking now to the audience, certain people bad and they have to be destroyed. It's, as we are multidimensional, there are so many aspects of it. So it might just be energetical thought from which brings or drives a certain person in addiction. And once you really remove that entity, you really see the shift. Like they have tried everything for 10, 20 years, nothing worked. And you do that and you kind of like re-merge that entity. It's also not like you're going to kill an entity. You're guided when you do those things. Let's say you re-merge that entity with earth energy and it dissolves. It is free. Some of them still have a spark of soul in them. Some don't. They're just pure contrast beings. So it is not as warrior-like from the warrior mindset as you might think, even though it can look harsh on the outside sometimes. But as you progress with your own energy and soul flow, you will see. Try not to put it into any category and to decide from your mind, this is right, this is wrong necessarily. And it's not like you're going to harm spirits or people. You're going to do greater good for the people and the spirits if you do your own work from your soul, basically. You know, this is the part where it gets, now I'm talking to Joseph and the whole audience again, and it gets too theoretical, you know. We kind of here in this little bodies trying to understand the bigger picture, but this main function of this body is a reduction of our soul senses so that we can experience a human life, you know. Like we are so much more strong than this, and it's so special to experience this reduction of senses, like this human experience. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're saying that basically as humans, we're taking on a role where, you know, by definition, not by definition, but by convention, we have chosen to forget that we are connected to source. We have chosen to forget that we are connected to each other. I mean, when I say we, the greater collective, there's, you know, people that differ and that get it. But like there's people like me also that get oneness from a theoretical perspective, but do I get oneness from emotional and heart perspective? No. I mean, sometimes I've felt it. You know, I did a session with you. I felt that. I've done different ceremonies that I felt that. I've done different meditations where I felt it. But do I live from that space? No. I don't know that anyone lives from that space all the time. Maybe you do.
Different levels to that, and it's good that there are different levels to that, because ultimately all exists. And before I start continuing on this one, some of us have been tricked. and I want to address this. There are many trickster spirits when you die, and many souls are confused about their true identity, that they get tricked to relive this experience, even though it's an amazing roller coaster experience having a physical body. Not all souls really want to stay here and being reincarnated into this plane, and not all souls, when they die, go to that level where they're aware that they have free choice. And this is something I want to talk on later, which is really important, and one of the main focuses, depending on the group for which I work on, really awaken the people to the degree where they really kind of have free choice to say, no, you're a trickster, I'm going home. I don't want Earth anymore. I want that galaxy, or I want to go on and do something else, you know? So basically, can you repeat what you said? I kind of lost the train.
Where I was going with it, I mean, I think I was just talking about how, I don't know, my main belief is that as souls, we can't be tricked. So like, that was a weird noise. So like,
Notification.
so like, yeah, if we have an attachment that, I'll bring up your example, when we have an attachment that we get rid of and all of a sudden our addictions go away, well, that was a destructive being in quotes, because we learned something from that addiction, I believe, or we wouldn't have had it. But it was destructive to our getting rid of that addiction, if that's what we chose. So when that destructive thought pattern is removed, we could call it an entity, but I mean, it's a thought form. I mean, the entities, as the way most people say them and talk about them, attachments, entities, they're thought form creations, beings that were created from thought, live as spirit, and you know, as you
theoretical.
Your addictions, it's because it was a negative belief pattern.
It's too theoretical.
Yeah.
This is the past. This is what you have learned and picked up from other people. It's just not really your playing field anymore. You are past that, and you're kind of trying to dip your toes back in that old water, but it doesn't.
I'm trying to. Here's the thing. I'm trying to get out of the belief that I feel like is being pushed on me, that so many humans right now have these attachments and these boogies and these entities that we need to get rid of, and that doesn't feel right to me. Like, I mean, yeah, you can push a negative thought pattern out and you could call that an entity, but it doesn't, like, it feels like a fear technique. It feels like fear tactics, and all these practitioners like, oh, I can remove the entities from you. Like, these are thought patterns that I can remove, and they're not negative to my growth as a soul, or they wouldn't be there.
Yes. Try to kind of like slow down us a little bit on your energy field. There's much lying about this, and I agree with you that there are many days or energy workers who don't really have it and who work on those tactics. Completely agree, and that's not a good thing. Ultimately, we are very big, and it's hard to do harm to the soul. I agree on that one as well. But the thing is, there's a certain point of involvement where you really have to be open for the good and the bad in all the dimensions to really see. This is really, really crucial. And you're also going to be feeling for yourself much more. See, this is the point where you really, if somebody tries to, and thought patterns, it's an old concept, you're evolving past that. The thought pattern is very weak, even if it's being fed by many people. I'm talking about real beings. For example, Mary Magdalene, you know, just calling her thought pattern would be almost like an insult. It's like calling your soul thought pattern, you know? This is beyond...
But if thought creates reality, I am a thought pattern, so is Mary Magdalene. I mean, the thought had to come before the being.
1 second. This is, let's excuse my harsh words, cheap esoterical crap. This is, haha, I just think happy thoughts, do a little bit of shadow work, and I create my reality.
That's not where I was going with that. I don't think that's fair. I'll let you continue, but I don't. That's not where I was. That's not how I believe.
I know, but it has this smell to it. This really thing to it. It is really. If you are not willing to acknowledge the force of your own soul, where you can really levitate right now, where you want to, this stuff doesn't work at that level for you. So you have to see where you're at that moment energetically and what you can actually really apply. And this is the good thing. It's not this is more evolved or better than the other. It is really, right now you're trying to relax a little bit, Joseph. Your mind is really trying to conceptualize everything right now into This is not a mind game what we are doing right now. This is a heart play, a beautiful heart play, energy play, evolving. And your mind kind of like has a tough time with it for now. I can really feel it. It's almost like cramping, you know, the bridge which connects your brain is kind of like cramping a little bit. I don't know. You don't necessarily feel it, but it's like, no, I don't want to be taken over by my heart. This is the thing. The more you feel and you follow your heart, the more you're connected to whatever people call 13 dimension and deeper flow, which is much too high to compute for our brains. See, and this is the place where kind of like we or I'm taking you guys in your own soul, in your own body, connected to all those dimensions that you feel. He's just playing the fear tactic. Have a good day, you know? Or, hey, I can help you. You're actually being manipulated by that being. That's why you sell those fear tactics to other people. You know, like it is really as strong and as effective as that. You just sense and feel truth. And if they don't want to have the truth or your truth or the deep truth, that's also okay. They can continue creating their theory of saving everybody from their kind of like thought patterns and whatnot. You know, it's a free play, it's free will. So that's all right. But interestingly is when you kind of like see the few people and it's more and more people awakening in this beautiful, heartfelt way, they all get the same messages. You know, what you were saying about Mary Magdalene, I confirmed it, and anybody else who is at that level, they will feel and confirm it. And that's the beauty of it. Then you're like, hey, friend, you know, you just know what each other are feeling, and you just know each other's heart through. So there's this kind of thing, you know, you cannot bullshit an empath. That's the beautiful thing. We're all really going.
What? Oh, an empath?
An empath, you know, you can basically.
I also can't bullshit a bullshitter. I'm a bullshitter.
But you get the idea.
Smell bullshit from a mile away because I'm a bullshitter.
You are not. Actually, maybe your mind was kind of trying to play that mold in certain situation, but it's no longer, you know. And I wasn't even talking about
I'm an ex-bullshitter. That's true. I don't bullshit as much as I used to. And when I say bullshit, I'm a Cajun. We exaggerate stories. We make up stories and tell them. People don't, I mean, bullshitting doesn't necessarily mean lying. Bullshitting in where I'm from means creative storytelling.
Yeah, I know. But this is the interesting thing, see? Your mind is going to get melted much more away. And I guess it's soon time to do some strong energy work with the audience and with you if everybody wants to, of course. Because talking about patterns, there are still a little bit patterns in your running which you're going to dismantle in the next few days yourself. You're going to really see them, you know. There's a really weird noise outside. Anyways. So just try to relax a little bit, Joseph. Seeing your energy right now. Yeah, so basically from what I sense right now, there's nothing interesting and very, very kind of big going on there. A few thought patterns here and there from the past, but basically you kind of like throw them away the next few days when you want with your own inner kind of new flow in nature. It will be all great. Even if there's some resistance towards that one, I kind of feel that dancing up of that energy a little bit there. And it's understandable. Maybe, you know, you have been doing a lot and going through a lot of releases and you're kind of like fed up with those releases and stuff, but that's where your true gold is, you know, that's where the beauty is. That's a message, basically, if you want much more of your own self, your own strength. So, do you want to jump into some energy right now, Joseph? And
yeah, let's do something with the group. What do you think?
Some are, well, some are like, yes, but the collective energy is more like a yes. Let's do it.
We'll just take the willing along with us.
It's not about me. It doesn't matter. This is one thing I have to elaborate also. It doesn't matter if I have long hair, if I have short hair, if I'm this male, female, if I have achieved this or that. The work I do is completely subjective to what I do, you know, and what I'm physically and whatever. It is pure and coming through me. So I don't take credit for none of it. And I'm very happy to be a channel of those energies and be able to feel all of you and see where you're at and be of service. So try to just relax, even if you might feel a little bit tension in your lower belly, almost like wanting to cling on to the old, not being so sure about those new energies coming in. It's just your soul, pure source energy, earth energy, maybe even sky energy. I'm slowly starting to scan the group. Interesting, Joseph. You're supposed to have your own little energy bubble, which is beautiful.
I what? I'm supposed to have one?
Your own little energy bubble right now in the energy work. Because I was asking if I should work with you on the group or if you should kind of like give you your own little shell. You can imagine the group like a big like theater like audience, you know, right now. Like a huge theater, like round, all sitting there, being connected. And then you float in some eggshell in your own energies, but it's looking quite cute.
I do a regular meditation where I picture all my friends and family in a theater watching a video of how we got to where we're going, you know, in terms of having the community we're building and like everything's accomplished and we're all just sitting there like watching a video about how we got there.
Very beautiful. This is no accident that this came up. And I didn't know it till you were saying it. And that's the beauty about the chi work. Yourself as a medium often understand those things in the process step by step, which leaves a beautiful space for privacy and everything else. And now as I was speaking, I got the message, and as you were speaking, that this is a beautiful way you can do constructive activism, especially for you by if you want to have a nice outcome of a situation in the world that bothers you, for example. You can go in the space of the feeling, even though your mind is still a little bit behind and thinks that you're not a feeling guy. Energetically, you're much more of a feeling guy already, and from that space, you have much more positive influence about scenarios not turning out the way your soul, your heart really wants to, you know. And so this is where the theater experience comes in. Collectively, you can connect, and you can really change the outcome of some not so nice situations on the earth. Just putting it out there. Also a little bit for the audience.
Just creative visualization, you mean? Like just picturing what you desire?
The feeling space, very important, main emphasis.
Feel what you desire. Feel the having of your desire, is that what you're speaking of?
It's beyond this. Wait a second, I'm having to do a little bit energy work on the group. It is feeling that beautiful, joyful, loving feeling at first, and connecting with that feeling to the other people, that you really feel each other till you feel each other. And then start the visualization about the scenario and the outcome you want to have collectively. You can have each individual feelings, which is the most important, is the beautiful warmth and joyful feeling and the positive outcome of that situation if you want to have a positive one. The audience has quite some sadness coming up towards that one, blocking more their throat chakras. Don't worry, I'm talking right now to the audience. This will be released soon by that energy flow which is created. And then you will have much easier time really tuning into that loving space. on a much deeper level than some of you are already able to do it, because there's a deeper, more deeper level, as we all collectively seem to really enjoy the experience of, or illusion, quote unquote, of spiritual evolving. There's always a deeper level, always a more beautiful, deeper state, more influence, more beauty, more love, more cleansing. Try to go a little bit more in your chest, Joseph, with your consciousness. Right now I'm more working with the audience, kind of letting you float a little bit on your own, positively applying what you already kind of got introduced to. You'll be our pilot program. It's a joke for the audience right now to live experience the changes.
So you had mentioned wanting to go without video. We got 20 minutes left. Do you want to do
I know. No,
a little?
I said I really don't know what I'm doing. And as everything flows and changes, I was supposed to say and do those things at that moment, and now I'm supposed to do with the video. See,
Okay, so you want to keep it off?
I'm fully aware of that. It was to trigger certain events and certain reactions. Even I didn't fully know that at that point, which was playing and laying the ground for our work we are doing right now to get deeper and to shift to a different paradigm for you.
Okay.
This
Do
is
you want to get silent and do a little work on the audience, both live and YouTube?
already working on the audience.
Okay.
On video, even if it can give some tears here and there, my face and your face, wherever, it's perfect. It's just how it is, you know, especially showing a little word about animal communication in there. When you really have an animal talking back to a human, the first time they experience it, they burst out into tears. And it's just a beautiful thing, released, really almost like aha remembering. So don't be afraid of your tears, guys, in the audience. You know, it doesn't make you less spiritual or anything or less evolved. It's just a beautiful unfolding and actually creating much more space for love and joy and healing. That is a beautiful shift in the audience. Okay. It looks like it's going to be a very strong, very powerful, beautiful energy work with the audience. And please don't worry if things get shaky a little bit for 2-3 days. It's just the most and maybe strongest, fastest shift you will have. I was just asking your collective souls. And for those of you, which is many, those which is really wanted it will happen, and for those other it will just not happen. So don't be thinking that something which you don't desire from your soul level will happen to you right now. So we're not doing any kind of strange sorcery here. It's just beautiful.
What can the audience do and the YouTube viewers later do to integrate some of this work moving forward? Is there anything, or it doesn't need their attention? It'll integrate on its own.
It has a vibration and effect on its own, only by watching it. But I wasn't. I have to elaborate on this in a few minutes when I did the energy work. Maybe in 5 minutes. I'll go back to that. I'm supposed to ask you, Joseph, if you also want to have that shift.
Of course, yes.
Let me see a little bit. I have to do a quick chat with your soul. Are you okay with a few days of a little bit rough ride?
Am I okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good. Very beautiful. Try to relax a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Very, very beautiful, Joseph. The next 3 days, it will expand and grow fully into its full size and potential. And from those 3 days on, you can calculate with 3 days of kind of turmoil and turbulence a little bit. As everything that is literally like in your highest good will literally like be washed away. You have an interesting energy going on there. But this is beyond chakras and even beyond the Merkaba and the energy field of the Merkaba and all those other dimensions. You actually have a beautiful purpose here, Joseph. A very beautiful soul purpose. Do you want to know more about it? You already know it deep down then.
Sure. I'd love to hear.
You're actually doing quite a lot already of what you're supposed to do. You would just take it to a whole different level. You're actually some leader figure, being connecting people, bringing people together in the most beautiful leadering way. That's also why you have so much of this. I don't buy this. I don't believe this. This actually comes from a pure, beautiful source strength and soul intention. This is not by accident. This is not some educational or genetic pattern, because some of the patterns are blah, you know. This is actually due to your soul mission and your soul purpose, which you're already quite living. And it's just going to completely take you to a different level now that really your soul is awakening in the next 3 days, much stronger. You really feel it, much stronger.
Yeah, connecting is my favorite of all the hats I wear. I love connecting people and
It is your soul purpose, literally, in a beautiful way. But you will now be able to access much more the soul qualities of the individual. You know, deep, also only by talking to somebody. There's going to be some releases. Don't question them. Even if you hear my voice is a little bit whiny in this moment right now. I'm channeling some of that sadness, which is going to come up for you. It's perfect, you know. Sometimes I'm working and I'm in tears actually channeling the sadness that is going to be released, but this is perfect. You're going to be much freer, much and this sounds maybe not so nice in this moment that I'm supposed to tell you, in the way of yourself, of your soul, you know, where some of that or certain things have been maybe in your way, you know. Now it's no longer this thing going on because your soul directly really takes charge of your life. It's really going to burn through all and everything that is not there. It's going to release it. And thus you're really being able to touch people on a soul level much deeper than you have before. And then you quickly go back to the audience a little bit, see how they're doing. Okay, the release of the audience is going to be like 1 or 2 days, not much more. And of course, I'm talking about the strong releases. The rest is going to be like all flowing, quite peaceful actually. Okay, I also should tell you, Joseph, that know your strength and learn to apply it. It won't fold. But use it also respectfully and with caution. But caution is not so an emphasis in this. Because it will really have an impact. What you say, what you live, what you are is not even called what you be, what you will become, which is really going a bit back to the audience. I'm supposed to stay a little bit longer with the audience. Time check, we have 5 minutes left, perfect. Okay, because I'm supposed to connect the audience to the future audience and to some kind of energy, no time frame, where I can actually, and the video can actually serve on a deeper level to other people. Let me see.
Anchor?
Hmm?
Like an anchor?
I am not fully knowing right now. I'm going to see what it is wanting to do, you know. It's really beautiful. I just don't know anything. I'm just seeing what is asked and what unfolds. Don't, as the audience is also not going to be entangled in some weird way, none of that. Just to the audience, relax a little bit more in this moment. Okay, now, from now on in this video, from this moment on in this video, from this minute, if you put your intention to be connected to this sphere, of no time, you will get in the next few minutes the same energetical treatment or reconnection than the audience got. And of course, Joseph. For Joseph, it is a little bit different. It's basically a reconnection to your pure source. But we also all a little bit different and have different life purposes. Not too much talking for now. Okay, no time frame has been created. Basically, you can tune in, I guess it was between 55, just before the end, and 58. That's 3-minute time frame from when I have been saying it. You just consciously relax and give your permission. Don't worry, it works anyways if you're not relaxed or relaxed. It's just on that highest level. And you send the wish from within, or if you work on the attention level, no matter what level you're working, to be connected to that no time frame. And that little 3 minutes is going to do all the work for you. And if you are not sure, you can just watch the interview and benefit of the beautiful energies that will already do some great benefit. But the other energies will be much more on the chakras and on the Merkaba and on those dimensions, as to that other directly touches your soul and the kind of, I don't want to say blueprint, but the closest thing to your soul, which creates your energy body on this planet. It's kind of like energy, almost mirror of your soul. It's one of the very strongest ways of you to really awaken you and bring you in alignment. A question for you. Do you have some interesting mystics from, I know it's almost time, from the Jewish side, maybe Kabbalah in your family line, Joseph?
The Zenner family name is has been historically Jewish, and I've studied. I did the entire series of Book of Kabbalah on tape. I was very intrigued by it. On top of that, my daughter's mom has always said my daughter is Jewish, and Emily just kind of like goes, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't know where that came from, but
I have the blue space going on.
I'm sorry?
You have the blue space going on. It is a beautiful gift of leadership and a unique soul purpose and capability you have, and this is something that is often mentioned in the Kabbalah. You don't see that much very often. So
the blue what?
The blue space.
Blue space. I'm down. I like blue.
It's a very beautiful thing. I don't know how much more time can we do over time.
We can do whatever we want. I wanted to get to real quick couple of things. First off, how do people get in touch with you? How do they book a session with you? What's the website? How do you prefer people to communicate with you?
Facebook, to be honest. If you have Facebook or even don't have Facebook, you can always write me a message on Facebook. There's my page on Facebook, which is called Kasimir. Yeah, just Kasimir with a K. And if you have trouble finding me that way, which is not always easy, you can just find me through my personal Facebook page, which is called Kasimir Kurt. And on that page, if you are there, on the left, you see works at Kasimir, and then you find my Facebook page. Because it's not so easy to find in Google algorithm. So you just go to Kasimir Kurt. Currently, I don't have a website, as I had the last years, for example, as Kasimir Lightworks. But I have an event workshop page for Prague, for my events in Czech Republic, and I have an upcoming event in Slovakia. So basically, some of the events have their own event pages, and a website of my own is in the process of unfolding. Yeah. So it can be in the next weeks that I will have www.kasimir.something, but mainly it's Facebook or just my email address. But I do not prefer to work too much with email, so basically just go to Kasimir Kurt on Facebook, and you find under the section works at Kasimir, you can contact me there and write me a message. You can ask Joseph if you want to, if you have been listening to this podcast. And of course, my new website, soon coming, will be announced there.
Cool, yeah, and I didn't know you were doing something in Czech Republic. I got to introduce you to my two buddies, Goran and Zoran. A couple of my buddies from Czech. You might know one or both of them already.
Not necessarily. I have a workshop coming up on the 26th in Czech Republic. I have tomorrow a workshop in Berlin, Germany on the 23rd. I have one in Slovakia coming up, 1st of October. Just today created the event page, got the place, everything, kind of already have one signed up. And so generally those events are made 2 weeks prior, and those are very intensive, beautiful, transformative events. And we really do the work we do today, but it depends on the energy of the group who is coming. But you can expect to really have a life-changing event in the best and deepest sense you can really imagine. And some are really supposed to also be able to teach those things and to continue and to awaken others with what they experienced at the workshop themselves after 1 or 2 workshops. So generally have recoming customers 2-3 times at the workshops, really getting the deepest degree of their own activation so that they really can give it to other people and kind of like continue the energy work and pass it on, so to speak. And well, yeah, those things are shown on my Facebook page. Anybody else, it's written in Czech. I always have kind of a translator at my event, so it's always in English and Czech or other languages. And they're going to be much more and more workshops. I really like and enjoy traveling the world and working with people. Generally, they're like small audience between 5 and 10 people, a little bit more, but yeah, nothing too big. We can really work intensively. Some are 4 or 5 hours, others 8 hours. For example, the upcoming event in Slovakia is going to be 8 hours intensive. As those events are also planned and programmed by energy and spirit. Spirit knows the exact location, the exact time for the coming group to that event. So it's really, if you want, so tailored to the perfect needs of everybody and everything. So it's not the mind thing, I have to make certain things happen that time. It's really like which date, which location, which energy, and then let the people who are really drawn to the event come to do really special, unique energy work. So yeah, and the website is basically in the making, in the energetical making. Is going to come down in the next few 3-4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. Already have an event in basically Slovakia, which is having its own website because it's basically every 2 weeks in Slovakia. The last event was really amazing in Slovakia, pardon me, Czech Republic. And yeah, so basically I have every 2 weeks some event going on, either in Germany, either in Czech Republic, and either in Slovakia, and who knows where. If you are listening to this and you really want to do the work and get to know my work and have me in your city or your town, just write me on Facebook. We can set up an event, starting from basically 10 people. I travel to different locations and set up events. And yeah, well, mainly I'm working now in Germany to do a lot of that cleansing work we touched on our radio show. This is going to be a big emphasis for my work, but it doesn't keep me from traveling the world and doing beautiful energy work there with the people and really witnessing those beautiful, amazing shifts in people and being really happy to serve. I also do animal communication and Reiki and distance sessions, as you mentioned, Joseph. But lately I have been doing less and less distance sessions because most people actually can travel and really want to travel, let's say 4 hours, or take a plane to come and see me because it's really beautiful. Let's say it's just much more physical and personal. It really works on a distance level. So if you cannot come and see me in person, let's schedule like energy session. If the energy says yes, I say yes. If the energy says no, I say no. And same goes for exorcismal room cleanings. If something is too big, which hasn't happened for so far now, I will just tell you, look, I'm not supposed to do it. Somebody else will do it, and maybe I will even give you a contact. It's really beautiful about that work. It's completely from the heart to the heart.
Nice. I wanted to bring up one more subject and then we'll close it out. It's something that I feel like if more people understood, we would be able to pass through this turmoil, this chaos that's going on, especially in the United States. You know, like I just want to address like these shootings, the school shootings, the police shootings, police killing people. Um, so I want to bring up my thoughts on it, and then I'll toss it over to you, Kasimir, for your thoughts on it. Okay. So my thoughts are basically like this. Once any of these shootings occur, and I could replace this with molestation, or someone, it comes out that somebody's been molesting children, or it comes out that Barack Obama is bombing Syria. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to take a shooting as the example I'll use here. So what happens when the shooting hits the media? What most people do is they send sympathy and pity to the victims and the families. Both sympathy and pity are not high vibe energies. They're very low vibrational energies. And then they send hatred and disdain and disgust towards the perpetrators of who did this. Again, crappy energies. So we're sending all these, you know, funky energies every time one of these things happens. There's all these energies, crappy energy going to the victims, crappy energies going to the person that did it, instead of just love and acceptance. You know, like sending love to the victims. But the harder thing is sending love to the perpetrator. You know, this is a human on this planet. This is a very, very tough planet to live on. And a lot of people have mental illness. They're confused about what's going on. A lot of people have been brainwashed or whatever. But the bottom line is, if we want this to stop happening, which I think most of us do, we've got to get out of the resistance to it. We've got to stop hating it. We've got to get out of being resistant to these things happening and just sending love to the occurrences, to all parties involved. And love is the only way out. If we keep resisting these occurrences, they will just keep happening because we are focusing on it and it's expanding. We've got to move past that. That's just my little take on how to get past all this crap that's going on.
A good introduction, and it's a good picking up on what we talked about the show, actually, when we talked about positive activism. You know, it didn't came up during the show for nothing, because it knew that it had something to do with your work and your future work and what the audience is also interested in doing. So this is the perfect example for doing to your capabilities what you feel and can, positive outcome, connecting, and energies, but it's really important to really feel them. And the other thing is, this is the second, it is basically a two-part question and it's more two-part answer than two-part question. Is those beings, which are bad, evil beings, really losing control, really trying everything to possess people, to do really stupid things, really play the fear game, really go on. And because we are really awakening, and this is what I see happening at my workshops and before my workshops, if people are controlled by sources, which happens on my workshop, or people come to my workshop, their dog starts running away, or they have a car accident, or whatever, the sources really try to pull them back not to come to my events. So sometimes they really have to push through that dark resistance to be completely freed. And this is the same on this planet, which is going on right now. So you're absolutely right. Best positive outcome, acknowledging isness, and really giving that love to the people and that thing. But it is still going to happen in a certain way, that those beings are going to really fight for their survival, a nasty fight. And the more love, as you were saying, you give those people, the less that being can influence that person. Because if somebody is really broken down and feels really bad, and a being is sitting in them, it's very easy to make that person crazy to a degree where they can really start doing some physical bullshit, in plain English. Yeah, let's call it a mass shooting or whatever. It's really, yeah, let's not even go there. It is really, this is why it's really important to really see, okay, am I really free? Am I really in the flow? Am I really connected to my own energy? Yeah, my own, you can call it chi if you want, so nature's energy, the heaven's energy, my own soul purpose. And if you're really connected, you can really change things. And especially also for the audience, expect some resistance coming up inside of you. And it's good. But just fight that resistance for the beauty and the warmth inside of your heart. You're going to see if something is off in yourself, in your body, which has maybe its own consciousness, maybe its own thought pattern. It might be whatever it might be, you know. Don't, if something comes up and you see and feel a pattern recurring, just kick it out. It's not supposed to be there in, you know. So basically, yeah, as your own level of expertise and working will evolve, like you will have a very beautiful and amazing shift in your life and in your work, Joseph. And please keep me updated through messages and everything, because I'm really personally curious, even though with the work I wasn't personally involved in it because it came through me. It is very beautiful, and you seem to be playing a very beautiful role there, in a kind of big role. And also have a look into the pure essence of like Judaism and your family line. But I guess you will have some interesting insight there, and well, the blue space will reveal itself to you anyways. Like next 2-3 days, it's even speeding up a little bit as I see it. So, see, this is how those things flow. I was saying 3 days, now it's more like 2 days, and then after those 2 days, you know, remember I said 3 days and 3 days of detox. Afterwards, it's not 2 days. 1.5 to 2 days of detox. So things really kind of shift, and it's always different, and always. That's why it's so important to really meditate and feel and be loved. But also don't freak out when you are just stressed in a moment, or you're just releasing some stuff and you're feeling anxious and you're releasing that anxious energy. As a good thing, I can say, take off your shoes and just walk in nature. Get yourself a natural reflexology massage from Mother Earth and ground, and incorporated energetical grounding when you work down there. Feel your energy, visualize that energy going down in the earth, anchoring there and pulling everything away. It makes it so much stronger than only walking barefoot and feeling the ground. For some, it might be just feeling the ground, like caressing the ground, really being aware, not just walking barefoot. For some, it's more like exploring the plants, and you know, for you, it's still exploring the plants and being barefoot and then seeing what happens, you know. And maybe at some point you might feel called to what I just said, the energetical grounding. See, this is how everything is for everyone different in that very moment. So it is very important, because we are in a very crucial point in time on Earth, basically, that things really shift quickly. We really have a lot of power and energy in our hands right now. And the collective, this is where I was saying the 3 outcomes of the planet Earth, basically, we can really participate much more consciously in what we do, and where we kind of like take more ground energetically, we can influence more positively. And so some of those scenarios are very beautiful, even though some might be like, oh my God, this place is going down, you know, we collectively decide to call it a day and then start something else. Hello, yeah. My fiance just came home.
Nice.
Yeah, well, let there be light.
Right. I was just realizing it's getting a little dark there.
Yeah, well, whatever, you know. Light works.
You were lit up.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the beauty of it, you know. Now we can really create our own things. And yes, there are dark forces controlling and what, but they're losing ground so quickly, and we are gaining so much. So basically, I'm very optimistic with this one. And there, it is important to know that you can train and tune into different time frames, you know. Especially when I do workshops for energy frames, it is almost as a collective in that group, we start to create the most perfect time frame for each individual on their sole purpose. And it sometimes starts that even an individual of their workshop or myself starts not seeing the isness and reality of that moment, but the best positive time frame and outcome, where, for example, that pet is already healed and I literally see it, or they literally see it with their eyes, and they have to tell themselves, see the now and the isness, and the pet in that moment isn't healed, to project all that energy, talking about projection and thought, really creates reality, to really almost like jump into the time frame where that pet is already here, you know? Because if you really see physically with your eyes that pet is here, because you have been accidentally or by a workshop, whatever, switching to a different time frame, you really see it. This is where you can really use those things and they really work. Not only on, I created 10 butterflies, or I found like a few dollars on the street, which is already a good level, but this is just the next deeper level. So basically, this is also what my workshops are about, not only the deep feeling connection and giving the interface, but really creating almost like a time capsule, time bubble, in the ideal frame, which is impacting all the other people they are connected to. And if something is removed, they influence other people much stronger, even if they don't do anything. And if they start doing consciously something, it's even much stronger. It's almost like a chain reaction in a beautiful way, you know, kind of like spreading energy and love through all the people really empowering themselves. So that basically they all can just be and create from the truest, most beautiful, deepest essence.
Nice. Yeah, I want to mention if you watched this and had any kind of energetic experience, even if it was a little bit of fear came up or any kind of feedback, I'd love if y'all could post it in the group. I extended the group end date by, not the group, the event end date by 2 weeks. So you can post stuff in there, and you can post below YouTube here. I probably won't get to comment on it, but if I do see it that needs to be addressed, we'll address it. But you can reach out to Kasimir and myself with questions. And I want to thank you very much for joining the show. I want to thank you for doing some energy work with myself and our guests and Jordan. It was very fun. Always a pleasure. I always love having your energy tap into mine. It feels very nice. And that's going to do it for our Ridiculous Hour. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel below. If you want to join us in our Facebook group, we have lots of them, but one of the main groups we're playing with right now is called CEAMS. It's CEAMS. It's Council of Emotional Alchemy and Molecular Science. So please join us there for lots more classes coming up on miracle plants, lots more Ridiculous Hours coming up. We'll be interviewing Will Sessions very soon. We'll be interviewing Daryl Sprout. We'll have Sharita Perez on the show, the musician from Houston. So lots of exciting stuff coming up. I appreciate everyone joining us today. Any closing words, Kasimir?
Well, yeah. First of all, a very big thank you for the audience, and also to you, Joseph, for allowing this work to happen. From my deepest core to your deepest core, it's very, very beautiful and appreciated. Thank you for that. And thank you for letting me be of service. And do the work, continue the beautiful internal unfolding of yourself. It is really crucial to do the work from your inner self. And now a little bit me. It was a great, great time with you guys. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed being on the show, enjoyed being with Jordan again, seeing him in real life, and not just being friends on Facebook and having a chat. It's always different when you have people in video, and of course we have been energetically connected. I also wanted to say I didn't do so much energy work on Jordan. It was more like a very little reading kind of thing, tapping into answering your questions. Energy work has been more like with you and the audience, and also saying, well, thank you for letting your soul basically kick everything out of the way, which is not really being in your highest good anymore. And especially to you, Joseph, what a beautiful surprise. With all that like blue space and that Jewish background and the true kind of essence of Judaism and that true mystical blue space. And I'm very curious to see where it goes, because you don't see those things every day, although every day are very beautiful, deep transformations. And I don't want to say it, you know, give it almost like a value, it's more valuable. It's really beautiful, and I'm like personally started to get really interested in the next days and in the next months and the next years, seeing your work unfolding, because like I said, everything you had before had that purpose, you know. So it wasn't not for no reason that you had this strength and that guidance and no, I don't want this and that and this. It is really like, you can say almost justified in a beautiful highest purpose, and now it kind of like almost like the last puzzle piece kind of gives that bigger picture, and this is really beautiful. You don't see that every day.
Nice.
Just,
so I'm weird, even amongst the weirdos. I'm weird. I like that. I'll take it. But thanks again. I'll give you our ridiculous tip for this show is a way to have 2 birthdays per day. Y'all are gonna love this. So what's your birthday, Kasimir?
15th April.
15th of April. So that would be 4:15 a.m. and 4:15 p.m. You can set your alarm. Have 2 1-minute birthdays per day. Play your favorite song.
I read it somewhere.
If there's any drugs around, do them. Just have a 1-minute birthday party for 4:15 a.m., 4:15 p.m. birthday. You can translate that into a time. So there's your ridiculous tip for the day. Signing off, I want to tell everyone thanks for joining us first off. And the only thing holding you back from everything you desire is your silly belief in reality. Thanks for joining Ridiculous Hour. Much love, y'all. Namaste.
That's a good one. Nice, Joseph. So, are we